At first glance, it seems normal. Two friends standing close together in a crowd. But if you look closely, there's something different in those eyes. A look that lingers a fraction of a second longer than it should. A smile that appears, then disappears when someone else approaches. These are the moments that have many asking, is it just a coincidence? Or are there unspoken feelings behind it? Today, we'll delve into the moments that have led the public to believe that jealousy can be the most honest expression of emotion. In the spotlight of entertainment, relationships between group members often seem like ordinary friendships. But when it comes to BTS's Jungkook and Jimin, their dynamic always feels a little more complex. There's warmth, there's closeness, but also small moments that reveal a possessiveness that's hard to hide. One of the most talked about situations occurs when Jimin is casually chatting with someone else. Nothing unusual, it's perfectly normal. But the camera catches Jungkook standing nearby, his expression slowly changing. At first neutral, his eyes begin to follow Jimin's every movement. As if unconsciously, his focus is fixed on only one person in the room. What's interesting isn't just his gaze, but his body language. His shoulders tense slightly, his lips pressed into a thin smile, and his body positioned toward Jimin, even though he's talking to someone else. These are reactions often seen when someone feels distracted, even if only momentarily. There are other moments when Jungkook suddenly leans in, interrupting the conversation in a seemingly casual manner. He smiles, jokes, even laughs. But to the keen observer, there's something else behind his actions, like a desire to regain Jimin's attention. It's not aggressive, not angry, but it's clear enough to raise questions. Jealousy doesn't always manifest itself in dramatic ways. Sometimes it manifests in small gestures, pulling an arm, standing closer than usual, or suddenly asking to leave the situation. Jungkook has been seen doing these things several times, as if wanting to ensure the distance between himself and Jimin remains closer than anyone else. What makes these situations even more interesting is Jimin's own reaction. He often responds with a soft smile or a chuckle, as if understanding the unspoken feelings. There's a comfort there, as if the two share an understanding without the need for words. In relationship psychology, mild jealousy often arises when someone feels a strong emotional bond. It's not out of mistrust, but out of fear of losing a valuable closeness. Seen from this perspective, Jungkook's reaction can be understood as a form of deep attachment. Backstage moments also demonstrate a similar dynamic. When Jimin pays more attention to another member, Jungkook sometimes appears more reserved. However, as soon as the attention returns to him, his expression immediately brightens. This contrast of emotions has led many to believe that his feelings aren't entirely neutral. There are also instances when Jungkook spontaneously compliments Jimin in front of others, but in a tone that sounds more personal than professional. It's as if he wants to remind them that their relationship is special. Attention to small details is another sign. Jungkook is often seen paying attention to Jimin's well-being, whether he's tired, whether he's comfortable, whether he's eating enough. This concern sometimes seems more intense than his interactions with other people. On the other hand, Jimin seems to enjoy the attention. He doesn't reject it, and often reciprocates in kind. A light touch, a lingering gaze, or a joke that feels exclusive between the two of them. Interactions like these reinforce the perception that their relationship has emotional depth. When someone is jealous, there's usually an underlying fear, the fear of being replaced, the fear of losing a significant position in the other person's life. If you look at Jungkook's expressions in several moments, you'll see flashes of that emotion, quick but real. But what makes this story different is the lack of overt conflict. There's no fight or major drama. Everything plays out in subtle layers of emotion, a glance, a pause, a shift in expression. It's precisely because of their subtlety that these moments feel more authentic. The public is often captivated by relationships that can't be fully explained. When two people have strong chemistry, even simple interactions can feel meaningful. Jungkook and Jimin demonstrate this time and time again. There's power in closeness built over years. Shared experiences, shared struggles, and time spent together create a bond that's hard to replicate in ordinary relationships. Perhaps this is why even small emotional reactions can seem so intense. Interestingly, the jealousy they display never turns negative. Instead, it often ends with laughter, hugs, or warm moments. It's as if those emotions are simply part of the dynamic that makes their relationships so vibrant. For many fans, these moments are proof that human relationships aren't always black and white. There's a spectrum of feelings in between: friendship, affection, attachment, and perhaps something more difficult to define. One pattern often emerges in their interactions: a rapid shift in energy. When the distance between them feels close, the atmosphere seems light and playful. But as soon as either person's attention is diverted, the atmosphere changes, even if only for a matter of seconds. Small changes like these often go unnoticed by those not closely observing, but to those who are sensitive, they reveal the emotional story. Some body language observers even note that suppressed jealousy is often more visible than outright jealousy. There's a subtle tension in the jaw, a sharper gaze, or uneasy hand movements. In some moments, these reactions are obvious, not as an emotional outburst, but as a small wave of pressure being suppressed. Interestingly, situations like this actually demonstrate emotional maturity. Not everyone can control possessiveness without causing conflict. Here, the emotion is present, but it remains within safe limits. It's as if there's an awareness that their relationship is too precious to be ruined by a fleeting feeling. There are also moments when awkwardness arises after such situations. A brief averted gaze, a laugh that sounds a little louder than usual, or a spontaneous joke to lighten the mood. These are all natural human mechanisms when trying to balance feelings and social situations. Long-standing closeness often creates a unique sense of emotional belonging. Not in a negative sense, but rather a sense that each other's presence is an essential part of everyday life. When that emotional routine is disrupted, even briefly, spontaneous reactions can emerge without us even realizing it. Another thing that makes this dynamic compelling is their synchronicity. On many occasions, when one person displays a change in emotion, the other seems to notice immediately. The responses are often spot on: a smile, a light touch, or a return of attention. It's as if they have a private language that doesn't require extensive explanation. For fans who have followed their journey from the beginning, the development of this relationship feels like a story unfolding over time. From the awkward interactions of the early days to the more comfortable closeness now, each phase adds layers of meaning to small moments like jealousy. There's also a human aspect that connects. Many have felt the same way: the uncomfortable feeling when someone important to us gives attention to someone else. Seeing those emotions manifest in a public figure makes them feel more real and relatable. Ultimately, perhaps what matters most isn't whether the jealousy actually exists, but how it reveals the depth of the relationship. Because in every glance captured on camera, there's a potential story of caring, closeness, and a simple desire to remain a home for each other. Ultimately, whether it's genuine jealousy or just public interpretation may never be fully known. But what's clear is that every reaction captured on camera tells a story of real closeness. And perhaps that's what keeps people watching, because behind the spotlight and fame, we see something very human: the desire to remain the most important person to someone we care about.